up, email geeks? We're back with another Feedback Friday guest. This week, we're sitting down with Tiffany and switching up the format a bit. This is going to be a long one, so get some popcorn and let's dive right in.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Davidson. I have been doing email in some capacity for something like 10 years. I don't know why for the life of me. I kind of got my career started in Houston working in the publishing field, went over to ecom for Academy Sports, and then moved to Austin to jump into the startup world. I have spent some time at Sparefoot, which is one of the world's largest, actually it's probably the world's only marketplace for finding and reserving storage. And now I am at the Zebra, which is a marketplace for finding car insurance that allows you to keep your data private, which is really great. And the email that I've chosen today is actually from one of my former CMOs who I worked with at Sparefoot, Self-Lender. And I like to poke fun at his emails as much as possible. So this is such a great opportunity.
Yeah, so these actually look pretty good to me. So I'm interested your notes about what could be improved on these.
Yeah, so the reason not only to make fun of him did I choose these is I think a lot of brands out there are limited extremely by colors or brand guidelines or lack of imagery or just things that they don't do. And if you look at these emails, they're really great in that they are limited in focus and color. So you'll notice the really cyan or blue, whatever color that is, background. They use white for all of their content sections and kind of that orange yellow for their CTAs. Though if you look at the first email, a couple of notes on this. There's an interesting thing that they do with their hierarchy in that they lead with the white, but then they kind of bounce back to that cyan color. And looking at this, all I see is this like white block, like that's all that is there. And they're really just trying to get people to go back to their site, but it doesn't tell me what the company is or what it does. So I kind of scroll down this email, and that section in the middle, that applying for credit builder account only takes a few minutes, that is like really the call to action on this. So I kind of wonder, what if you took that and then put it on a white background with that blue kind of a frame around it and then moved it up to the top of the site, which makes it more clear what the user is going to do. And then that review is such a great, like a powerful thing. It's almost like the tiniest thing on this page. So moving that up a little bit, and even that read more reviews, you notice that inconsistency. So that get started has a very clear call to action, but then all of a sudden you've got this blue read more reviews and it's really small and you can't really tell what it does. It really comes down to the hierarchy and the color in this messaging, I think.
Yeah, those different CTAs are a little weird to me. Also, I guess this being centered is also, I guess, not the worst thing in the world, but...
Actually, now that you say that, I noticed the bullets it's kind of weird that does that.
I guess this could be a little tighter, I guess. So, yeah, as you're saying, maybe not as long. I'm guessing this is just done this way to, like, make sure it looks good on mobile.
Yeah, that could be what it is. But I mean, like nobody learns anything from this email. Generally in a first welcome email, and it's probably really important to say this, once you start signing up for the app and then you abandon their app for getting the credit program that they offer, this is the first welcome email in this series. And so I think that welcome emails that restate what the company does and what you're getting out of it are so important. I mean, honestly, I would take that applying for credit builder piece, move it to the top, follow that up with the review, and then move this over 120,000 others just right below that, and then get two really good CTAs in it. I mean, you could even move that read more reviews into that review box, and it would make it more powerful.
That being a separate section by itself, maybe keeping the white, but then maybe making this a separate standalone box would be nice. And I do like what you said too, where it only takes a few minutes. Maybe that is the fact that they use instead of the people have signed up to take control. That you're minutes away from taking control of your credit or something. And
yeah, for sure.
From the accessibility side and the mobile standpoint, I do say that they have done a pretty good job with a lot of this stuff, being live text, being optimized for mobile, having the custom icons, keeping it pretty clean. This is a longer legal section, but it's not the worst.
I would guess with finance, you get stuck with a lot of legalese. But I mean, they could even make that text a point larger and make it white or even black and let it be on that blue tone this whole thing would read better.
I guess that matches up to their website pretty well using the same colors.
Well, whenever you look at their website, that phone that you're looking at, I noticed that they had green in it. If you had another color in this email, you would probably it would open up the entire thing to where the message hierarchy, like it's a lot easier to do this. It's easier to do it with 3 or 4 colors than it is 1 or 2.
There's like a little hover effect on their website buttons too, and that might be cool to do in an email if they had time to do it.
Oh, yeah, totally. I'm with you.
It does kind of not seem like that personalized. Maybe like they could bring in your name or...
Yeah, I honestly don't know at what point in the funnel they're doing this. And I know that it's probably pretty hard with the audience that they're reaching out to here, but at least a first name, anything. I talk a lot about how important it is to not overly personalize with first name. I think you can beat a dead horse with that. Like the people who put it in every subject line, it irks me. But I mean, at least addressing somebody in the right way in the body of the email, it just changes it.
Yeah, I think the subject line too is the same, kind of repeated, and I don't know if I like doing that all the time, having the subject line and then kind of repeating it again in the email, but maybe bringing first name somewhere in this might have been a good, nice touch for the first time, and maybe that is, you don't do it every email, but this is a good first impression. So how about the next emails in the series? Do you have feedback on that?
This next one, I actually think is really interesting. So it's a step 1 for building credit. Whenever you actually sit down and look at the entire series, there is no step 2. So
okay.
step 1 is step 1, which is, a problem in and of itself. But when I look at this, the couple of things that jump out are that top section is essentially explaining the process that you're going to go through with Self-Lender, but it stops just a little bit short. So it says that you're going to deposit money. It's going to go into a bank and it's going to be FDIC insured or whatever. But it doesn't tell the consumer how you're going to help them after that. So I kind of thought it would be pretty cool if they did some sort of GIF or image using their illustrations to show what that whole process looks like. So you can get a few less words in there, and it makes it a lot easier for the user to visually see what process they're going to go through. But then the thing that's even more interesting than that is right below that, it says take control of your credit, and it literally tells you how much it's going to cost you each month to go onto this program. But again, just like in that first email where the second section was blue and you visually kind of tone it out, the exact same thing happens here, at least to me. So when I saw this, I didn't think that those were calls to action at all. I actually just saw them as like blocks, and I'm like, I don't understand what happens.
These being buttons, I guess?
Yeah, they're actually supposed to be buttons, and that didn't even, when I was looking at these, it didn't even occur to me that that's what they were. Now, again, to your point earlier, looks fantastic on mobile. Like, I think I would pretty much get that those are buttons whenever they're toned down, but when they're in a desktop version, I mean, I feel like they've lost it. I don't know, again, if this goes back to the color or if it's, if you're trying to get that click back to the site to increase engagement from your emails, do you just add a button there that says it could be as low as $25 a month to fix your credit and allow people to go back, give them less options? Is that more?
I thought Get Started was an okay CTA text choice, but now kind of seeing it over and over again, it is kind of not being that beneficial. And as you said, too, if this is step 1, it didn't seem clear to me that this is like a series of emails that they might send you. So if it is, maybe they should show how many emails that you can expect to receive. Because I know you sent me a screenshot, and they do send you a good amount of emails over a certain amount of time. So if you're kind of bombarded with these emails, you might want to set some sort of expectation of how many you can receive in this series.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're going to take people through steps, to your point, like tell them not only how many steps, but maybe what the timing is, Like, I hate that. You're going to get 10 emails. Well, am I going to get them today? Am I going to get them tomorrow? Like, if you're actually trying to teach somebody some amount of information, like maybe give them a heads up on what this cadence is. I've actually tested that I worked for a company that did online courses, and people would regularly want to know when they were going to get the next piece of information. And if you didn't give that to them, I mean, it would just cause a support issue. So I don't know. I always go to telling people what to expect.
Yeah, even though this, headline and subheadline is pretty descriptive, as you said, with these kind of buttons, I think one part with emails that really irks me is not knowing exactly where you're going to be taken when you click on a link, and really setting that expectation about when you click on these, are you signing up right away, or where is it really driving you? Some
Oh,
clarification
that's
on
so
that
true.
would make me feel a little bit more comfortable, especially with a financial email. Is this going to open up in the app? Is this going to drive to the web or something like that?
I think it takes you back to the app. I don't remember, but it doesn't matter because if you don't know that from the email, it doesn't really count. But I
Yes.
mean, overall, again, I think the email is good. The information is there. It's an issue of displaying and ordering.
But I'm glad that they don't have a navigation or something. It does seem pretty simple. I like you said, like the full width colors are nice. But I think it is very optimized for mobile. So maybe that is just something that they've seen that a lot of their subscribers are on mobile, and this is just how they've made their emails. But as you said too, I think adding a GIF or some animation to grab your eye within the inbox, or showing that they are a fun brand, because they do seem to have like a nice landing page, bringing some of those elements to maybe make this process started, because it sounds like you haven't really signed up for anything yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see this last one.
Yeah, this one's actually my favorite.
I like this graph. It's fun.
Yeah, and I didn't even know that about a credit score personally. So that was kind of cool. I learned something. This kind of feels to me like it's the most important, most meaty email. It gives so much information. It tells me exactly why I would want to use Selflender. If you look at the timing, it actually comes on day 4.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times, and I don't know if this is true for Selflender, but I feel like the most meaty email and the thing that talks me into doing it, like you kind of want to get that abandoned browse sort of thing as soon as the person leaves. And I would almost switch this out for the first email. I think the two can almost be combined in some way, but I really like the education here. I think that's always great. If you scroll down, I thought this was pretty cool. There's also a lot of text on here. I think that could be scaled down. But the cool thing about this is that bad credit can be expensive. If you click on that, it actually takes you to a slider, and it'll allow you to adjust and see how much you spend on something if you have bad credit versus how much you spend on something if you have good credit. You have to scroll down a bit. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And a lot of people don't know that. And if there's a visual way of educating in your email, like, why not? So for this email in particular, it just feels like, why not turn this into a GIF that, rotates once or twice, and people can get some information out of it. Maybe it's limited information. You don't give away everything, but you can learn a lot. There's some visual interest there. And I mean, this email almost talks me into using this service, right? It just feels like this email is a little bit better than the other two.
This graph is really cool. I wish that kind of would have been in the email in some way to get me to click, because even though this is a cool icon, I really like that copy that bad credit can be expensive. I almost think that should be like the subject line. I think it's pretty powerful. But yeah, I'm not sure if I would click this and go to this page and really get through this stuff if I wouldn't have known really with the information provided. And even this graph maybe showing you, maybe animating it or making it show like this graph up here, that these can maybe change or something like that, would be kind of cool to maybe add some movement to this email.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I do like this one. I do agree this should be maybe the first one in the series, or these can maybe be combined in some way.
Yeah, and you notice on this one, where on the other two, the second section went back to that cyan color and your eye lost it. You notice how that background of that graph is gray? That is technically a second section, and they've solved that problem by making it gray instead of blue. Like, it's just a little bit of work, but I still read versus ignoring it.
I think the start building now is a stronger CTA than get started to in that first email. So maybe they can just take some elements from all of these and do some testing and see if it converts a little bit better. But yeah, this module just seems to be tacked on it in a lot of the different onboarding emails they're sending. So maybe that could be polished a little bit too, because reading through it doesn't really motivate me to click through. It kind of is distracting from the rest of the main message of the email.
Yeah, I mean, in the first 3 emails that we've looked at, the ones that come over the first 4 days, they never really make it clear. They do this really well on the website. They never really make it clear that if I give them $25 a month for X amount of months, it will go into a CD. Not only will I be building credit, but I get that money back. I feel like they're just missing little pieces of information about the story. And it could be such a powerful, I mean, email could be such a powerful tool for them if they could get that message and that hierarchy nailed.
It is interesting that they have a pretty well thought out templating system, at least. So I'm guessing a lot of these emails can be reused. So I guess that is a good thing, but yeah, making it clearer and showing the value in the email to really get people to click through. I wonder if you completed more actions within the site, if you'd still sort of get these emails or not.
Oh, that's a good point. That I don't know. I'm actually looking at the code of this email now, just out of curiosity, because you're right, it is super templated. I think it's a MailChimp template, actually. Because if you look at the title, a lot of this has, a lot of it's the MC preview. Yeah. So, I mean, cool that they found a great template that works, but there are so many great responsive templates out there for companies that just aren't ready to hire somebody that is, well-versed in emails. So I personally use, still to this day, Cerberus for tons and tons of stuff. So yeah, I think there are a lot of options.
I think this is a pretty nice one overall. I don't think it is, unfortunately, really good emails worthy, but I think if they took a piece of this, I almost would prefer a longer welcome email than 3 separate messages. Maybe that's something they could test.
Interesting.
In this case, I almost think like having a single email to reference if I get stuck when I'm on, onboarding. Maybe I don't need an email every single day or every couple days. Maybe they can combine like these 3 sections in a longer email. I almost wonder if that would perform better.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that there's also a desire to get more clicks in emails, and so you make them a little bit shorter. But to your point, if you were to merge these 3 together, you actually eliminate a lot of information. Like that section at the bottom that's on all 3 of them, you don't really need that. So yeah, you could totally do this.
Yeah, reviews are very powerful. I think that could be a separate bottom module. And maybe replacing something like this that only takes a few minutes, just to show in each email that you have that sort of review there and you get that customer voice. And then, simplifying these into a more specific thing. Maybe even just showing this as a graph rather than having different buttons. I guess that is kind of a cool experience that if you click on the plan, but I'm not sure if I would pick a plan right away without being on the landing page. I think that would make me I wouldn't feel really happy about that because I don't have enough information to make this decision right away.
Yeah, and actually, even just like you did, whenever you clicked on it, it takes you back to a login screen. I don't even remember the login that I created to get these. And so having some intermediary step would probably eliminate the bounce that definitely is happening there. Yeah, but overall, I mean, I think they've done a decent job of utilizing the colors that they do have to get their brand point across. I understand that quite a bit. When I was at Academy, the colors that I was allowed to use were red, white, and blue. So So, I mean, it's a struggle. You don't always get a brand guideline that allows you to have a lot of fun. But I think with enough creativity and thought into it, you can definitely get there. You were talking about that review thing. I saw somewhere somebody had posted a carousel. You could almost put a carousel of reviews at the bottom that would just at least increase a little bit of engagement. It would allow you to get more information on the page without having to take up a lot of space.
I think I've done before where a module like this, being a GIF, cycling through a couple of different ones automatically.
That's cool.
I think that could be a little distracting sometimes, but I think going back to this, I do like this is here. I like how it's made and everything, but I wonder if that even drives me. I don't really look at these reviews, to be honest, that much. I got Amazon reviews. I'll look at those, but sometimes with this, like I'm already convinced. I've already signed up for the service. I'm not sure if this is the best use of space right away when you're onboarding me. I think telling me how much money I can save or, what next steps get me excited about signing up for the service and, making all this moolah or something would make me more excited to continue the process and learn more about, how Self-Lender is going to help me pay all my loans. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thanks for taking the time. Thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.